So the next question is from Mrs. Sherifat Adeleke. I understand that this question has been addressed at various times that we have held this meeting. So I would just like Dr. Ademola to address it again at this time. So the woman is asking about the challenges associated with online learning in terms of electricity supply, the cost of data, and all that. That what is the way forward in such a situation?
Those challenges have always been there, and that the onus is on us to be able to also make sure that we are able to overcome those challenges. For example, as regards the issue of electricity, I think there are other technological devices that are available now that can also replace that. For example, I mean, we can make use of the UPS. We also have inverter and other silent, what they call silent generator. Because we can't rely on electricity for long, because since it's provided by a private organization. So we have to think out of the box to make sure that we prepare alternatives, so that they won't be complaining about some of these challenges we have been facing over the years. So for the students or pupils, we have to also support them, either when they are in school, or we also talk directly to their parents through the social media, to make sure that if any student is facing any challenge in the home, we can get that report immediately through constant communication with the parents. For example, we can encourage the parents to also get some devices like phones that are not very costly, but that can also access internet, and that the battery will not also run down so quickly, and so on and so forth. As it has been said, we have to also increase our communication directly with the parents and the pupils and the students themselves, so that if they have any challenge, they can easily get across to the school administrators or the teachers, as the case may be. So we can find a way of also circumventing, so to say, those challenges, and making sure that the students are not at a disadvantage.
Thank you, sir. So from the poll that has been on for about 17 minutes, the first part of the poll, I can see that 81% of us were able to respond to it. From the response, we see that 79% of us have access to continuous training as a teacher during this lockdown. So that's not bad. That's not bad. And we also see that in terms of the frequency of the training, only 39% could boast of having been trained more than twice. 23% were trained twice, and 24% were trained only once, and 15% were never trained. Then for the next question, in terms of all these development trainings, career development training before the lockdown, whether we had access before the lockdown, only 28% were very sure they had access to it, and 44% were sure, 14% not sure, and another 14% partially sure. Then in terms of the TLCM and NTI organizing in-service training for teachers, only 23% were very sure of this. That means perhaps only 23% and 25% were sure too. So 23% were very sure, 25% were sure that all these trainings exist, while the rest, constituting 41% and 12% respectively in terms of those not sure and partially sure, were aware of these trainings organized by government and its agencies, or some people in the private sector collaborating with government. Then, in terms of the adverse effects on teaching and learning, about 65% were certain that 65% were sorry 65% were certain that this lockdown would adversely affect teaching and learning. Okay, the figure is not correct. The figure I just gave now is not correct. Let me just say 36 in terms of those that are very sure, and 46 in terms of those that are sure. And we also have 14% and 8% that were not sure that it would adversely affect. The majority of us feel that the lockdown would adversely affect teaching and teacher education. And for the next question, in terms of optimism, 36% confirmed that or felt that the lockdown associated with, well, they are optimistic that these challenges will be resolved in terms of the challenges associated with teaching and teacher education. 49% were sure, 14% and 4% were not sure or partially sure. And to the next question now, what Professor Ajiboye has always been repeating to our hearings all over, in terms of whether technology will replace teachers in the nearest future. About 80% felt that are not very sure that technology will ever replace teacher, and Professor Ajiboye has always maintained that technology would not replace teachers, but teachers that know how to use technology will replace those that don't know how to use it. So 80% of us agree with that to a large extent, and all that. The rest, only 2% were very sure that technology will replace teachers. That's just the minority. Then we have for the next question about the use of internet and smart home technologies for teaching and learning, or for teacher education altogether. In this response, we see that 41% say that they are very sure that it will be impactful. 46%, let's combine that, we have 87% saying that they are sure that using technology would positively impact teaching and learning. And for the next question of delivery of the delivery of subjects and courses have not been effective during this period, that we have a majority of the some 59% not very sure of that, and 36 and 17% sure of that. So that's that about the first poll. At the end of it, by the time I started reading, more people had voted, but I can't go over that all over. So I will be sharing the second poll. I don't know whether you've started filling that already. We have two polls. So this is the first part of the poll, and I would just like Professor Ajiboye. Professor Ajiboye, sir, you can unmute your mic. One of the results of the polls is about awareness about the trainings organized by TLCN, NTI, and various agencies of government and the private sector. How can we increase awareness about these trainings? People are not saying that they are not aware. They are not aware of these trainings. How can we increase awareness about these trainings organized by, and how are you doing that? Let me just put it that way in simple terms. Proceed, sir.
Well, yeah, thank you very much, EduCeleb. You know, one thing I want you to put sure and very sure together. You will see that is about 51% of the respondents actually are aware. They are aware of the training programs even before this pandemic started. Let me say this with all sincerity: the Teachers Association Council of Nigeria started the digital literacy training program in 2018 because we felt that, look, our teachers actually cannot afford to be, like I always say too, they cannot afford to be BBC teacher, born before computer teachers. Okay, that 21st century teacher has to be digitally literate. So in some of these things we have started, we have so many programs. NTI, for example, also has a national MCD program, MCPD program that they organize for teachers throughout the country. I've forgotten the name they target. And also TLCN has been organizing so many of these training programs. In fact, what we have proposed to government is that we must do more with regards to digital literacy training, because it's very important. And so I want to assure our audience that TLCN is not sleeping. We are collaborating with states. Some state government, for example, I can use Edo. Late last December, we conducted their even promotion exam for Edo State, government, primary and secondary school teacher, post-primary board, education board in Edo State, engaged TLCN to conduct the promotion exam for their teachers. Before we did the exam, we gave them a 2-day training, okay? Because we felt you should not just go into examination. You can do something else before you go into just the exam. So we gave them a 2-day training before we did the exam. So we are all over the country. I can assure you, we are making there was a question about how do you know whether a teacher is registered. It's very simple. Please go to TLCN website, www.tlcn.gov.ng. Go to TLCN website, you will see a section that we call TIS, Teacher Information System. It's called TIS. From there, you will check the name of the teacher. If you know the name of the teacher, you can click. There's a public section. There's a public section, that public view, that you can view as a member of the public to check whether that teacher is actually registered or not. You can do that, okay? So we have all these facilities there. And also you can consult any of our state offices. Let me say that TLCN is working with the states to make sure that we ensure quality in our education system. Just recently, we have gone around all the states of the Federation and the FCT to confirm the level of compliance of teachers with the deadline of December 31st, 2019 that was given. So TLCN is actually up and doing. If you say you have registered, you have not collected your certificate, perhaps you need to go and check again. So many people, they just try to register and they abandon and they have not been able to check back. TLCN is up and doing. And even like I told you, Nigerians in diaspora are now writing the TLCN exam, professional qualifying exam, online from any country where they are. Look, we started this 2019. Nigerians who are in diaspora are writing professional qualifying exam of TLCN, and we can monitor it. Okay? And we normally monitor it. We see you when you are writing the exam. We can check you. We monitor you. And at the end of the day, if there's any hanky-panky, we know what we do with the result. So this is the level at which we are going. And when we started the professional qualifying exam in 2017, and I told Nigerians that it's going to be a CBT, a computer-based exam. So many Nigerians were asking, but today we have been vindicated. We have been vindicated that look, you cannot do without technology. It is not possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the response. We have with us the NTIDG, who is ably represented by his special advisor, Professor Ahmed Ilyasu. I didn't notice that he was here earlier. It seems that I just saw him that he's here. I just noticed that. Professor Ilyasu, sir. Okay, anyway, we'll come back to him when we're able to get through with his audio. So, and regarding what Professor Ajiboye just told us about the training organized by NTI, it is called the Pivotal Teacher Training Program, PTTP. That's the name of the program organized by NTI. I think sometimes last year they organized some within the southwest region of Nigeria, and I'm aware of. They organize it in various parts of the country, and they usually involve state ministries of education, and they involve even registered private schools. Not all private schools can participate in such. Registered private schools are also invited to nominate teachers to participate in some of these training programs organized by TLCN and NTI, as well as many other agencies of government and the private sector. And those of us that are in Lagos, I see that some of the people that registered for this program are from Lagos. In Lagos, there is a training ongoing in collaboration with Microsoft in Lagos for selected teachers in Lagos at various levels of education. Now, I know that many of us are also aware of. The same sort of training is going on in Ogun State and some other states. And as he made reference to Edo, you see that in terms of education in Nigeria, Edo ranks, I think, best in Nigeria in so many indices. So these are some of the things ongoing that we should be aware of. Just that we also need to follow news sites that report education matters. So as to be aware of some of these things and many other things around us within the education sector, since that is the sector we are involved. So I can see that 98% more have registered now in response to have submitted responses to this poll. So, but we will not be able to go through whatever responses they've given. So we'll just move on to the next question from one of our participants. But before I give that next question, I just sent a link to how to verify a TRCN license, a previous post that we have on our website, EduCeleb.com. So you can go through that article to get to know more about how you can verify that a teacher is genuine or not. So it also contains some of the things that a lot of the things that Professor Ajiboye just told us about. So we can go through that on our own later. You can click on the link. So shortly, I'll be sharing the second poll for us to fill, and we'll be analyzing that as we proceed through this conversation. The next question is about whether there will be a certificate after this program. Certificate is not compulsory, but if you require a certificate, you can send an email to us, and you will pay a sum of 1,000 naira for that. If you require a certificate, it's not compulsory. We made this free except for the data you are spending or the time you are spending to join us in this conversation. We've made this free, entirely free for us. But if you need the certificate, you pay 1,000 naira, and but you have to send us an email to that email that notified you about this program. An email notified you. Send an email to us about that, and surely you'll get a response on that. So that's that about it. I've seen a number of questions relating to that here. Then Mr. or Dr. Uluwole Ayodele is asking, how do we improve the impact knowledge? Okay, how do we improve or impact knowledge after the COVID-19 now that our pupils have been home for a while? We know that for almost 2 to 3 months now, children have been at home. How do we improve and impact knowledge whenever they resume? We don't even know when they will resume to school now. And government has said that whatever you are doing online, for those that are doing online teaching, it cannot replace the third term resumption. So how do we improve and impact knowledge immediately after this pandemic is over? That question goes to Dr. Ademola Aziz of the FCT Apoka.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Abdusalam, the moderator. Well, first of all, by this time the students come back, as administrators, we make sure that we are able to also keep some of the measures, the safety measures that we have been told to keep to make sure that the students are properly monitored, because we don't know how long this COVID-19 pandemic will stay with us. We are praying that the thing should also be, we should be able to get a solution or a cure for it as soon as possible. So we shouldn't just assume that because the students are resuming that we are all safe. So as administrator, we need to make sure that at least there is a special interest in making sure that the students are properly taken care of. Then to also determine their level of preparedness by the time they come back, we also have to also conduct revision, serious and thorough revision in all what they are done before they went on that COVID-19 holiday. You know, the teachers will be encouraged to make sure that they are taking through all the topics that they have been taught before the holidays. So from then there will be interaction between the teachers or lecturers and the pupils and the students, so that they need to recall some of those things they have been taught, and maybe possibly that some of them are forgotten, because we can't just assume that everybody will be serious with this online teaching. because some of them, because there is no thorough supervision, some of them will not take it very seriously. But by the time they are back, there must be provision for supervision, and revision is very, very important. After revision, then we can now organize maybe tests, to also determine their level of readiness or preparedness for the task ahead. I think that's my take on that.
Yes, sir. Thank you for the response, sir. That's insightful. So I'll be launching the second part of our poll this afternoon, which also continues from where we it's related to what we did earlier, or some other questions were asked. So you have the time to fill it now. So we are looking at some other things in relation to how this school closure would impact teaching and teacher education in Nigeria. So you can always fill the poll at this time. So and then I will now go on with the next question. So this question is from Esho. Sorry, I don't know. Esho Jimmy. Okay, Esho Jimmy Sunday, saying that what's the most okay. The question has been answered somehow. Saying that what is the most effective way of delivering teaching that will stimulate learning in learners? That question has been answered in some way or another. And the Akatako people corrected us on this in our notification or advert for this program. We said COVID instead of COVID-19. She corrected us that we should be COVID-19. We've taken note of that, and that will be, I think that's what I have been saying, and our panelists have been saying since morning. So COVID-19, we've taken note of that already. And then this person is somehow asking the question. This question is somehow directed to, I guess it's directed to NTI, or it's possibly directed to TRCN too, saying that how can we make payments online? So I would not like to bother our panelists about that. But if you are here, what you should just know is that you go to the platform. I think it's Remita that they used to pay for TRCN and NTI dues and other things like that. School fees for NTI, TRCN, the annual due and the registration license and all that. So you go to the Remita website. The guide to doing so is there. And for your own safety, it's better you go through the website of these agencies, of this NTI or TRCN respectively. You visit the website and ensure that you are clicking on the link for payment directly on the website. It might redirect you to TRCN and to Remita at some point in time, but make sure that the link you are clicking on to pay is related to what you want to pay for. You are paying for school fees, you are paying for annual due in case of TRCN, you are paying for the license or whatever it is you are paying for. You make sure that what you are choosing is the appropriate thing. I think we also have a guide on that, especially if the person is asking the question in relation to TRCN. I will share it later. I will share it later on in the course of this conversation. So the next question, I know that Dr. Ilyasu and Professor Ilyasu is here with us, but it seems that we can't hear him. We'll come back to you later. But we'll be going on a brief break for about 5 minutes, and we'll come back to continue this. But before then, I would like to direct this question from Raphael Olabisi. The question is directed to Professor Alarijano. It says that since the WAEC is around the corner, okay, the question is not really a question for her. It says that since WAEC is around the corner, how are they going to write WAEC during this coronavirus situation? WAEC has already said earlier that the exam has been postponed indefinitely. So whenever everything normalcy returns, the exam will be written. So another question from the same person is saying that, what is your take on government providing palliative for students and teachers during the coronavirus? Professor Adejenoma, I would like you to comment on this.
Teachers and students.
Yes, ma'am.
I really don't see the need for government to provide palliative for teachers if salaries are paid as and when due. But for students, because most of their parents, some of their parents may not be able to go out to work and may not have adequate facilities to take care of them, government can provide facilities, palliatives for teachers, for the pupils. I know now that the federal government, under the school feeding program, is trying to provide food to be distributed to parents of primary 1 to 3 pupils, so that parents can take this raw food and be able to feed these children during the process. But for teachers, what I would advise is, instead of giving teachers palliatives, pay their salaries as and when due.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Uma, for the response. So I would just like to go through some of the comments from our chat box. Before I said I was going to be 5 minutes brief, and for that 5 minutes we'll be playing a video from one of our past editions of the Education Discourse. And those of us that are feeling attending to the poll, we implore us to continue doing so. So, and this question, I think by the time we're back, Professor Eliasu will be able to connect. Will be able to speak very much to some of the questions that are asked here.
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. It's been a while, sir. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Welcome, sir. Welcome.
You are welcome. You are welcome.
We appreciate you for joining us this afternoon. This evening now. So we have been saying a lot of things about teaching and teacher education in Nigeria, and we would like you to join this conversation. But we'll start from the questions, some of the questions that some people have asked here. If somebody from South Africa asked the question about this, what plans are you putting in place in moving your courses into online platforms? What plans?
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. Yeah, I can hear, I can understand, I can hear you.
Proceed, sir.
Thank you very much for the question, and thank you for the opportunity. NTI, as you know, it is actually mandated to provide training and retraining for teachers. And this is the right time that actually NTI could come in and provide more and more relevant teacher education training. And as you know, we are one of the first or the pioneer distance learning institute here in Nigeria, where we started with NCE during the UPE program. And we have a lot of other programs that are actually being run by NTI. Some of them are postgraduate diploma in education for those teachers that are teaching without teaching qualification. And also we have BA Ed programs and BSc Ed programs that are actually being run by the institute. And not only that, we have other trainings like capacity building that you mentioned last time, when we train teachers that actually probably students that actually finish secondary school and they want to go into teaching industry without teaching qualifications. Then we upgrade their training and we enroll them into our NCE program. Therefore, this is a very challenging period, and we need to emphasize on teacher capacity building and continuous professional training. Most of our teachers that are now currently teaching in most of our secondary schools and higher institutions, you know, they are not very much conversant with the technology and education technology. Therefore, we have to deploy all these media so that we can be able to. Now, NTI, we have our portal, and through our portal, we can be able to manage LMS, Learning Management System, which we engage students and our other partners in all kind of training. Most of our course materials are there, and not only the course materials, all other media resources that we need to engage to even provide online assessment. After reading a course, then at the end of the module, you have to answer questions. There and then you get your responses. Therefore, we are doing our best to see that we move with time and curtail all these kinds of problems that are actually bedevil teacher education program. And you know, when you don't have qualified and competent teachers in your classrooms, actually they cannot provide the desired learning expectations to our students. And you know, we are professionals in terms of even taking care of the rights and privileges of our students. We need to know that not only deploying technology, but also we have to protect the rights of the students or our teachers so that they can actually not be subjugated into any other suffering. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you very much, sir. So some comments were
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Some comments here were directed to TLC and registrar. It seems he has addressed some of them earlier, but this one I would just like to read it from Mrs. Rashidat Idowu Adelaku, saying that when you register with when they register with the TLCN has their contact. Why is it that TLCN could not contact them to inform them that their certificate is ready? You know that in some, I don't know how it works in some other places. Maybe that's how it works in other places. I don't know. But this person believes that TLCN should be able to contact students, should be able to contact people who want to inform them that their registration has been successful and all that, to come and collect their certificate. I don't know whether your university or college of education usually does that. I don't know. But from what I know, from what is the practice in Nigeria, I don't think any institution informs students that your certificate is ready. I think it's the student that will go and ask for the certificate. So, but perhaps this is a suggestion that TRCN will want to look into later on. Mr. Olabanji Bello, I think Olabanji Bello is based in Jigawa State, based on our last conversation. He's saying that he believes that in northern Nigeria is being sidelined in a lot of initiatives in the education sector. I will just respond to that too. I don't think so. I don't think so. In terms of access to funding, UNESCO, UNICEF, the federal government, through SUBEB, through the NUC, I'm interacting with you from northern Nigeria at the moment, and I'm very much familiar with situation in northern Nigeria. I can tell you that a lot is going on in terms of what government is doing to support education in northern Nigeria. I can say so. Perhaps you are not seeing some of these things, or they are not evenly distributed across Nigeria. I don't know, but that's about that. So that question, I think the commenter is from Jigawa State. So, and then Mr. or Dr. Moruf from the Federal College of Education Technical, ACOCA, is saying that without that, the pandemic has opened our eyes to a lot of challenges and opportunities. What is the effort? What effort is in place for policy inclusion and sustainable efforts on the use of online learning platforms? So, what efforts are in place in terms of policy?
Thank you very much. Wants to know if there is a policy on online learning in Nigeria. I'm not aware of one, because really this thing about online learning has just been something that is optional. It hasn't really been something that has been embedded in our curriculum. So when people have been doing it, it's just whichever way they want. But I know that training institutions, UPEP, for example, has been giving training on ICT, computer-assisted learning, but for a specific policy to say this is what you must do, what you must not do, how to do it, I really am not aware of one. And I think it is high time now that it is online learning, remote learning, use of technology is clearly embedded in the curriculum, such that teachers have no choice to use them. And then the regulating bodies must come up with clear-cut policies. Because if we are not careful, it can again come to a stage when some teachers can overuse it and it becomes to the advantage of the learner.
Okay.
So it has also to be regulated.
Okay, all right. We didn't hear the last part of your comment, sir. Ma.
I said, if we are not careful, if we just need people to just go on doing online learning, remote learning, educational technology the way they want, it can again go to the excess part. It can be excessive again. It can be overused. It can be abused. So there really needs to be some regulatory policy to be put in place now that we have found ourselves in this situation.
All right, ma'am. It appears that Professor Iliasu from NTI would like to say more about this.
Thank you very much, coordinator. In fact, there is a policy on educational technology and IT, which was launched just, I think, April 2018 or 2019 by the Federal Ministry of Education. I was part of the people that attended that one in terms of regulating the online teaching and also deploying educational technology in our classrooms. There is a policy by Federal Ministry of Education. In fact, I was there when it was launched in the Federal Ministry of Education. So it is clear that we have the policy. And also in terms of distance education policy, that is online teaching, we also make presentation in Slovenia, I think in 2017. And Nigeria, we were invited also in April 17 to go and participate in the Commonwealth organized conference on distance education policy, which actually was postponed due to COVID-19. That is why, and it is international. All these policies are there. When you go to NUC, I'm sure if you contact Meyaki, you can have copies, madam. So this is the additional information I want to actually provide. We have policies that are backing all these practices. It's only lack of utilization and implementation of such policies. This is one of the major problems in our country. We produce policies and we don't care to implement the policies. And most of our university lecturers or students, they don't even care to go and find out such policies and conduct researches in their level of implementation. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much for that input. So we are now aware that we have a technology education policy in Nigeria, and this is just that we are not implementing it. So that's an issue that many of us are partakers in not implementing it as practitioners in the teaching profession. So the policy is there. We all just need to work together in implementing it. And by Nigerian law, I've seen some comments about Nigerian law that some things are not in Nigerian law. I should be sharing some things in Nigerian law so that teachers should be recognized globally, especially in terms of TLC. And I can assure us that, from what Professor Ajiboye said earlier, Nigerian teachers are recognized globally. In one of the first edition of this education discourse about 2 years ago, that we started it, though we didn't use Zoom, then we were using Telegram. The first guest we had then was from the UK, a teacher based in the UK, trained in Nigeria and teaching in the UK. It's just that they just need to do some other things. You need to just be qualified to teach there. In terms of your language, you need your language skills and all that. But your qualification from Nigeria suffices for you to teach in other parts of the world. So, and we should just take note of that. Nigerian teachers are recognized globally. If there's anybody telling you anything otherwise, that person is maybe is just trying to deceive you. Just that every teacher needs to equip him or herself with the necessary skills to be able to compete globally. So you can't say that you want to teach in another part of the world where they require the use of technology or they require certain skills that you don't have. So you need to acquire such skills to be relevant in the scheme of things. So then we have a whole lot of questions here. I said earlier that we're going on a break, a 5-minute break. God willing, we'll be back in the next 5 minutes to go on with this this conversation. If you have not filled the poll, if you have not attended to the poll, please do so. In the next 5 minutes, God willing, we'll be back. Thank you very much for joining us. We'll continue with this conversation. Some people have left, and some people are just joining us. Welcome and welcome to everyone. So we'll just continue with this conversation at this time, and I'll be reading through some of the comments that I've seen here so far. But before that, I think I will just have to go through the poll. 100% voted at this time around. It's against the other time we had 86% voting. So based on the statistics we have here, we see that 24% are very sure that these radio and television programs suit the needs of students, and 29% are sure, 38% are partially sure, and 14% are not sure of that. And then in terms of preference to remote teaching, that would anybody want it to continue? Our respondents, it's 17% and 39% are sure that they would like it to continue, that we should continue remote teaching. That's something that we should adopt. And then 22% are partially sure, and then we have another 22% that are not sure. In terms of distance learning, they said have been sufficient to cover the gaps in teaching and teacher education. And from our respondents, from our participants here, we see that 19% vote in favor of that. 19% and 35% combined, that will be 54% voted in favor of continuing using distance learning to bridge the gap in teacher education in Nigeria, and 32% as well as 13% respectively voted otherwise. Then for the next question on augmented reality, virtual reality, and some other things like that, and how they can help us, how they can positively impact teaching and learning. A majority of respondents here believe so, with a combined 27 with 54 to give us 81 or 55, just in case it's 55 now, in favor of that. And then you see that some people are still voting. Let me end it so that people will stop voting and we'll read the rest. So for the rest, for the other options that we have here, we have the question of that does anybody believe that teachers would reduce, that our schools would downsize, governments would downsize teachers within their establishments? Would there be a downsize of teachers after this pandemic? And so that you see that a lot believe so. Not a lot, rather. They're not up to half. Not up to half. About 40% believe so, that there will be a downsizing of teachers or the teaching working force after the pandemic, and it will affect teaching and teacher education altogether. And then in terms of optimism about the possibility of normalcy returning, a lot of us are optimistic from the responses here, with 31 plus 43 being sure of that. That's together 74. And then to the question of whether whether this program met the expectation of some of our participants. From the response here, you see that the majority believe so, with a combined 52 plus 28 saying so. 8% believe that this program met the expectation, while 22% and sorry, I said 80. That should be 75 rather. So 22% and 3% are not sure. 20% are partially sure. And to the last question of what will be the factor in determining whether anybody will participate in the next one will vote. A majority believe that is the topic we choose that will determine whether they will participate or not. That's good. That's good to know. And I can see that from this one that we made registration a requirement, a majority, more than 98% of those that are registering here are teachers. The only remaining will be journalists and people that maybe the other ones are parents, but majority of us are either school owners, school managers, lecturers in universities, colleges of education, or secondary school or primary school teachers, as the case may be. So that has been the response so far. And if you are interested in joining us again, the next topic we are focusing on is on private schools. That what will be the fate of private schools post pandemic? Will there be any help for them? What can private schools learn from one another during this period? There are some private schools that are doing great things during this period, and they have continued to maintain their relevance even at this time. And some are even paying salaries and a lot of things like that. So Mr. Rashid Oyetoru says that my perception of innovative teaching is adaptation of impartation of knowledge to classroom situation. That's good. And then, we also have here Professor Salawu Ibrahim. I'm not sure he's still here. And thank you very much for joining us. Just that I'm just getting to see this now. At the beginning of this conversation, about 250 people were with us, and as time goes on, some people left, some people came back, and all that. So, and we are just around the 116 now. So I don't know whether Professor Salah is here. If he's still here, I would like him to speak to comment on some of the things you have done here. So that's a comment from Professor Ibrahim Salahu of the National Open University of Nigeria, which is another distance learning education specialized distance education institution in Nigeria, just like the NTI, but in its own, it's a university, the only university so recognized. Then okay, I think that's been effective. Somebody suggested that we don't allow people to unmute themselves again. I think we've done that earlier, and people could no longer do that. And the question of in terms of the name, somebody has answered the question about the name. Thank you very much, and Dr. Maria Eko for joining us. Dr. Adeyemi Muradeyo, I can see you here too. And Dr. Lawan Abdulhamid saying that it is easy to outline the required changes, but it is not something easy to happen in the next 2 years. I rather suggest we focus on feasible stages of implementation of some of these things that we have said. How do we ensure that we are able to implement them in the nearest future? So I would bring in one of our panelists to look at that, to comment on this question of how do we ensure that we are able to implement all these things that we have talked about, feasible implementation of all these ideas. We've said a lot about how we can implement technology, how we can ensure that teachers are carried along during this period, how we can ensure that our teacher education program caters for the needs of the future and all that. So, and I can see a lot of people here. I don't know some people's names, but I would guess some people. I will guess the personality of some people, and at some point in time, I might allow them to speak. And if you want to speak on some of these things, you can just click on raise your hand. Raise your hand. Something like that is on your device, maybe your phone or your laptop. It is there. You can raise your hand. You will be permitted to speak. If you have any comment to make regarding that. So, and we have a whole lot of comments here. Yes, sir.
Hello.
Well done, sir. Good afternoon, sir. Well, thank you for joining us again. So,
Yes, I've been asking you to unmute me for some time.
yes, sir.
But I'm okay now.
All right, sir. I would like you to comment on this. How do we ensure the feasibility of, we can implement all these things in the next 2 years as suggested by Dr. Abdulhamid. Dr. Abdulhamid is a lecturer in mathematics education in the University of South Africa. He's saying that all these things, we have to, let's outline the stages of implementation. Can you take us through that? What are the stages we have to take to implement all these suggestions in changing our teacher education program?